This is a Podco original.
And today's topic is family expectations.
When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids?
Like we've been doing the apartment thing for like a couple years, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's tough because I know my parents don't want it.
a little certainty could be cool.
Man, I used to be like, man, F the system. I'm like, damn, that system looking pretty nice.
Hi guys.
What? Hello there.
Hi.
Well,
How did you get this number?
Welcome
Hello?
back.
Hello?
Hey.
What's up, gang?
Neds
What's
Pod is
up,
back.
dude?
Another episode.
Another episode, another fresh ass shirt from Dan, man.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. You like this?
I like it. I like
Dang,
it.
that's nice.
I'm rocking Los Angeles psychedelic cumbia band Spaghetti Cumbia merch. Shout out Spaghetti Cumbia. Boyle Heights represent.
Shout
Like
out Boyle Heights.
And I like your
Spaghetti
funny
Cumbia.
how shirt. I like your Joe Pesci
funny how
shirt
funny?
there.
Funny how?
Funny how?
Oh, you think I'm funny? Funny how?
So hey gang, how are you?
Hey.
Anything to report?
Thing
Well,
new? No?
It all went smoothly.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice.
I'm glad to hear that. So we are gonna talk. We are gonna do another episode where we break open a topic, a theme of life that all of us have to contend with, integrate, and experience as we
adults.
grow.
Yeah.
And today's topic is family expectations.
So we asked you guys to submit stories, comments, insights on our YouTube communities tab. If you don't already subscribe to our YouTube and you want to be a part of these conversations, you could submit your comments there, and we will read some on the pod and discuss this topic amongst friends. We all go through this shit. You're not alone out there, whatever it might be. Family expectations, Dan. What's your experience with that?
Family expectations. Done right, family expectations are supposed to be like a bit of a guide, right? To keep you on the right track. I feel like the parent-to-child relationship is to make sure that this child is equipped enough to go out into the real world and survive. So I think those first expectations from family are things like general respect. Like you got to respect mom and dad, respect your elders is like a thing, but then you have to push up against that when you get into the real world and deal with authority and things like that. But it's initially, for good reason. Respect your elders. Then there is where it gets tough as you get older. Like sometimes there are economic pressures. People want you to share your resources with that family unit, and that's a positive. It can be a positive thing done right. And we also have to shake off the yoke of some of these expectations as we drift away from our families, because we do get older and slowly start to drift. Did I say respect? Yeah, respect your elders is like a big one. What else? Support, supporting your family, whatever that might be it emotional support. We talked finance already. Decision making, speak up, say something, and then that gets extrapolated onto the world at large, where it's like, oh, you have to participate in the community you're in, go out and vote. You just have to be a present, functioning member of that society. Sometimes there's health expectations. I didn't grow up with parents who were like, oh, you got to get up and work every day, but they insisted that, hey, be healthy and da-da-da-da. So I think family expectations are supposed to be a positive guideline to keep you a functioning member of whatever societies you're involved in, but they can become overbearing. And I think most of what our community has spoken about is when those expectations are taking away from you trying to be the person that you want to be, or if that expectation does not fit the outcomes, or it's not reciprocal. You don't get the same thing that the family is trying to have you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, man. I think there is, and we did have I was so glad we did have a few comments mentioning the positive side to family expectations, which is like, it's a guideline of values. Like it's a standard that I try to live up to in a good way. Like it's a good motivator and kind of like grounding for my life. I'm glad some people commented that, because that can be the positive side of family expectations, is like, oh, let me make sure I'm not so far away from the values they've instilled in me. Like it's a good marker for your life, especially if you're lost. But then, of course, I think a lot of us can also experience, and most of the comments are the family expectations that actually hurt your life because maybe your life feels outside of their expectations and it's not gonna get closer. Like, so now you're just in dissonance with your family, and that's not a great feeling, but you also are like on your own path. The vast majority of the comments, I feel like we're commenting on the major family expectation as you get into your later 20s and 30s of marriage and kids. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? A lot of people who, I don't know, I find our generation, right? Like people used to just like link up, get married, have kids at fucking 22, 23, right? Like our generation.
It was the way. It was a clear path.
Yeah, our generation, we're fucking in our 30s and single and shit. Here? Like, and it makes sense that there's these families' expectation of, you know, anytime you meet up with family, well, when are you going to get married? When are you going to bring a partner? And that pressure to live a certain conventional path when for some of us, like, that's just not how it's gonna go or what you even want.
Yeah, and my ideals have changed so much. Like generationally, ideals straight up changed.
Yeah.
So those desires that you have for yourself, mom and dad or grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, you know, I don't want those things for myself, nor do I feel that it will work for me.
Right.
In this, you know, generation. I was like,
And that is part of growing up is like where your growing values and expectations meet your conditioned and family expectations. And part of growing up and becoming like the you need to be is reconciling that. Like they're not always going to fit perfectly, but how can I reconcile them in a way that I don't feel resentment? Like how can I free myself from their expectations, honor my own expectations, still hold up what I can for their expectations, right? Like how do you reconcile that whole picture of what your family wants for you versus what you want for you? Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah. My family expectations, like, there is a certain degree that keeps me in bounds of like being a good person, whatever that means for like me and my family. Like, and I like that. I know if I'm straying too far from basically like what I think would make my family proud, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like a good little marker to know, but there's definitely been things that I just had to be like, I'm gonna do me. Like this is my path. I have to go this way. Like I have to go see what this life is like over there.
One
this
for
is part
me,
of growing up.
A tough thing for me, and once again, like my family was just giving me these great, expectations that aren't selfish. Like it was never an expectation where it's like you got to do this to fit in or something like that. It was more like, we want you to reach these certain markers in your life to just make sure you're out there doing well. Yeah. But do it for yourself. But my family, they've always been big on home ownership. Like, right? We're from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right?
You get a house.
Yeah, you houses, they're cheap, they're easy to do. Like, you can do it. You can literally just get your plot of land and say, I'm gonna drop this $200K and be gone. Recently, basically I'm trying to move. We were so far away in Long Beach from where everything's going on in like Hollywood, LA, all that. And I was like, me and my girlfriend actually kind of made a decision. Like, I would like to, be in LA. And, like the houses that you're going to get for like a reasonable price in LA is going to be like South LA somewhere. Nothing's wrong with that. But, you're dealing with a couple socioeconomic factors that make it a rougher place to kind of be. So it was like, I'm in the market to do apartments,
Yeah.
My folks are big. Like, they're like, home ownership is the only way. You're throwing away your money. You're giving your money like $3K a month to somebody else to pay somebody else's mortgage is the thing. And it's just like, but that's just not my lifestyle. I don't want to just get a house that I don't want to be in. It kind of works out this way. And, my girlfriend comes from a different type of culture where she did grow up being in the city. She likes being in the thick of it. And so, we've been doing the apartment thing for like a couple of years. And it's like, it's tough because I know my parents don't want it. And they're calculating how much money I've thrown away to somebody else when I could have been working on a mortgage for myself and then had something to sell and show for it. That I think is it's a smart expectation. It just kind of doesn't work for the
and that
industry.
isn't that used to kind of be like objectively true, this idea of like mortgage versus rent's throwing away money, blah blah. Now it actually isn't as true as your parents believe. Like, no, there's actually like a study like whatever on a 30-year mortgage versus you renting, like you're actually paying more in fucking interest. Like you're
interest
not,
and the upkeep.
You're throwing and upkeep. Like it's a
Repairs.
whole different thing owning a fucking house, and then you can't move.
When you
you're
want
there
to,
forever. Unless you
Find
get
a buyer.
out of it, find a buyer, you're only selling your equity. Like it's not entirely true anymore. I've accepted like, no, in LA, I'm renting. And I prefer to rent. I don't feel like I'm wasting my money renting. I don't own it. If shit breaks, that's not out of my
put it on the
pocket. It's
landlord,
not on me, man. And then when I want to move, I can move. Like, versus buying a fucking house just to buy a house. Maybe you don't even like the neighborhood, don't even like the house.
Yeah, you're locked in.
You're locked into a 30-year mortgage with high interest rate. Like, fuck.
Yeah, because it's like it's
man.
15-year mortgage. You can't afford that. This is gonna have to be a 30.
Exactly. In LA, bro? Fuck.
Tough.
Yeah. You got anything to say, Lindsey?
This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. They say first impressions are important, but what about lasting impressions? That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew helps give men longer lasting and stronger erections so you can perform at your very best. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost, and it's in chewable form. All right? You just got to sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and then once you're approved, you'll receive the prescription within days. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free. That's right. They're going to let you try it free for a month and see for yourself. You're going to love it. Your partner's going to love it, all right? You could be missing out on the best intercourse of your life. Blue Chew wants you to have the confidence to perform at your best. So discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code NEDS at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code NEDS to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
I think that we should get to some stories. I feel like I've talked way too much.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You guys wrote in so many things. All right. Hold on, I'm gonna start on this one.
Okay.
It just ends so sad. Family expects me to have a girl, married, and have kids. I'm 27, by the way, which is like not that much pressure at 27. Since I'm not in a relationship, some of my family think I have a mental illness, while others in my family think I'm gay. I'm an introvert who enjoys peace and quiet. What a sad life I live.
That's not a sad life. Don't judge yourself.
I know that last comment. I'm like,
What a sad life I live. Jeez.
yeah. No, it's okay to be an introvert. It's okay.
Yeah,
Like it's
and
okay.
enjoy your peace without needing outward validation or somebody else to amplify it.
Absolutely okay.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Liberate yourself from their expectations of you, and then maybe you can have your own expectations for yourself.
It's easier to let go of other people's expectations of you when you can actually get a handle on what you actually want. I kind of have to cater to other people's like stuff because I don't know really what I want out of the situation or which direction I want to go. So I kind of default end up going by some other direction. Anyway,
That's true. Like that's where family expectations can help because it's some direction, it's some bounds. If you don't know where you want to go, like my family would go this way.
Right,
I
like,
might
right.
as well
So it'll at
follow
least
the
give
herd.
you something, but then I know plenty of people contend with that, especially like family expectations of like, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer or those things, like you must do these things. And then people want to break out of it. My friend, Simi Singh, if you know her from YouTube, she's of Indian descent and her family, like her sister went to be a doctor, her family expected that of her, and she realized like she's a creative and wants to perform and wants to do stunts and she has videos on like telling her parents this, and ultimately they ended up supportive, but it wasn't immediately supportive.
Yeah. And they want to protect you with these expectations. They're like, this is what kept my head on. I want your head to stay on.
Exactly. And I want to set you up for success in your life.
Yeah.
Like, it often comes from fear, worry, love. Like, it comes from them wanting good for you,
But the subjectivity of good or success too.
Exactly.
And with changing times.
Exactly.
You're good
so
and my good.
I like this one. This comment said, I've recently started giving more awareness to the shoulds I feel creep up and shining an intentional light on the source. As I slowly peel back the layers and dig deeper, it usually leads to an unexpectedly specific place in my past. Just becoming more aware of when and why it is happening has helped me relive the intensity of the should pressure that I impose on myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's well said.
Should is a very interesting force to look at in your life. I'm so glad this person commented this. Thank you for that. If you haven't at home looked at the concept of should in your life, do it. It's a deep dive, man.
It's an unfair auxiliary verb, like need, like I need this, or I should be doing it. Like need, I get, but a should, it's like mandated, and it's usually mandated by something outside of yourself. It's not an instinctual thing. It's all cultural based. So shoulds, I don't like living by shoulds either.
But then how do you know if you're
I should?
Like pulling the plug too soon on something? Or like, how do you know that you're not 50% out of like till your reserve tank? Like I can keep going, so I should. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
So that's usually where the should gets me at.
Those shoulds are a little different when you're talking about progress you've already made. Those shoulds, still evaluate them, but I'm talking about the shoulds like a man should be the provider or should.
Okay. Those conditioned should.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I mean. Look at your relationship to anything in your life you feel like you should do. It's not always something you throw out. Sometimes it's like, oh, why do I feel that should? Oh, maybe there's information in there. Maybe it's a good should.
Yeah.
But some of them are these imposed shoulds. Why should you? Do you know why you feel the should?
Yeah.
Or like this person, is that should tied to some
archaic
conditioning or some part of your life that like you didn't even realize you internalized that?
Yeah.
And now you're living like, oh, well, I shouldn't express myself.
I shouldn't go see a therapist.
Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't. Yeah, that. And it's like, well, why? Where did you learn that? Where did you learn that should? Where did you learn that condition?
Yeah.
Usually family.
Yeah. A good should is worth its weight in gold.
Hey.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Am I right, Lindsey?
How much should get a should chuck?
Ooh.
Hey.
I
don't know how.
How much would, shoulda, would,
chuck. Oh, how much would should? Yeah, let's go.
How much would should a good chuck?
Shoulda, would, chuck.
Anyway, this one's interesting. Is it weird that I feel like there aren't really any expectations on me and I still feel like I'm letting them down?
Ooh.
It's weird and makes no sense when I try to think about it logically, but the thought always worms its way in.
Maybe it's because they don't have expectations for you, that you're literally trying to live up to a ceiling that doesn't exist.
Hey, yeah, I could imagine
Maybe like if you'd have some boundaries to know like what is success to them and what isn't, or if they had any like care about what's going on in your life. Maybe they would put some expectations on you.
Damn, they're like, hey, we don't expect much from this guy.
And you're like, damn, I'm worthless.
Well, yeah, because if you're trying to meet a goal that you can't see or isn't there or has never been articulated, that can be really more sort of obtuse and annoying.
Yeah, kind of what I would say to that. Like, I mean, I know you're saying it's not logical, so you're aware like it's coming from an illogical place, but I hope when you're being logical, like if it's not your family, then come up, like, who are you letting down? Is that real? And like, why? To counteract that, I would say, like, find your values. Like, what are the values that you want to live up to? And you can set those through yourself. You can also set them through a role model. Like, find someone in the world that you think they are living in a way that you would like to live like or live up to. And kind of, we are like referential creatures. You do sometimes need a reference for it.
As somebody in the world that like is in your circle, like not just like these don't,
yeah, not
you know what I mean?
Yeah, not necessarily an ideal
or an influencer, celebrity, this kind of a thing, but somebody close in real time to you that you can learn from.
Yeah.
like, practically.
Yeah, and try and not let yourself down.
We used to have
But
big,
don't worry about going down.
oh,
you know what I mean?
Hey.
Downtown,
down, baby,
downtown.
Jesus.
Sugar on boy and down spring, yeah.
Well, Dan,
Well, that shaker, could you hear that?
that
Did they hear that on the
that's
mic?
pretty
Can you guys
gross.
hear this?
I've only
That's
ever heard
pretty gross, ASMR.
Just anything that I've already swirled around in my mouth. I don't want.
Go on.
Uh-oh. Hey.
Let's move on.
Damn. It's like
All right,
bypass
so
them
this
out.
person said, my family always expected me to be an excellent student in school, college, and to be a top performer at work. They don't believe too much in follow your own path because they say people without resources can't afford to do that. That has always been a huge mental block and dream crasher for me. Thankfully, I went to therapy in 2023 because I had the what's next, my life is just very monotonous thoughts, and my therapist helped me discover a couple of purposes of myself. One of them being writing my own book, which is based on Neds Declassified
Oh.
and Now Your Neds podcast. It's
Nice.
called Manuel de Supervivencia de la Vida de Rafaelinho.
Hey, Rafaelinho. I like this.
Rafaelinho.
It's got an Inye?
Oh, so it's
Yeah, it's Brazilian.
Brazilian?
Rafaelinho.
How do we say it?
I think it's Lino, Ronaldinho, right?
Right,
Does he have
yeah.
it?
Yeah, Lino. So, yeah.
Brazil.
You three guys and Scott Fellows are mentioned in the first page as a gratitude segment since your show helped me go through a difficult childhood, middle school, and high school period. When I publish the book, I'll send a copy to all of you, and hopefully Dan can help you translate.
Lit. Let's go.
Oh, I love that.
Thanks, Rafaelinho.
Rafaelinho.
Thank you.
Wait. Can we just touch on that? Like the
Yeah, like the
that people
school work,
without resources can't have that.
Tough. It's a
the
luxury.
follow your own path.
Yeah.
It's a
that
luxury
is such
to
a
be
luxury.
afforded the ability to bump your head trying
Right.
to find your own
Right.
path.
Instead of just having to do it perfect from the start. God damn.
Yeah, because if you misstep, we don't have money to back you up and get you back on the right track. Now you have to be forced into this life of less. It is. Life is rough.
I think I told you guys when I mismanaged my money and fucking ran out of it in my mid-20s. It was profound, honestly. It was so painful, but it was profound. I saw, whoa, this is how quick, if I didn't have someone I could call right now, this is how quick
it happens.
life gets
Serious.
serious, real survival really quick. And I remember feeling that, whoa, I fucked this up. I do have safety net because I have people I can call, not just family. I got friends, right? There's people I can call right now, but oh my God, this is how real it is. Not everyone's gonna have a family member or a friend that they can call in this moment. Holy fucking shit, man. And it happened to me, I was 25, fuck, you don't have everything figured out. It's I feel so much empathy for people. No one teaches you how to do everything in life, and fuck, a couple bad months money-wise, and you're in a situation that gets much harder to get out of. I could see the spiral down. I was looking into it. Jesus,
Dude,
man.
those streets, or those stories from the streets that people go out and do, and it's just everybody, just because so much of our society is living paycheck to paycheck, you're one or two bad paychecks away from that, and that's all of us, yo.
Yeah, hearing the stories
much all
of
of
people
us.
on the, I think you're talking about that soft, warm underbelly stuff where they go and interview people on the streets. It's tough. You will hear people from all walks of life who can
there
tell
was
you
this
the story of
one
their
woman
downfall.
who was superintendent of a school. She did so much outreach. She did that
Lawyers
and somehow it just wasn't enough, and that's how she ended up on the street. She wasn't It's not the same story you hear of, I blew all my chances and I'm going to continue to blow my chances. That's a stereotype, and that's so, even if I don't know, there's still be hope for people like that, but just in the grand scheme of things, I feel like most of the homeless community is people that are not that stereotypically idea of how you got homeless
it's
it's
a very
easy.
specific
relatable story.
Relatable. It's just society.
and catastrophe backing into one another and it quickly falling apart and not having someone to fucking call.
Yeah. And I feel like society wants to try and put them all in a box. Like, oh, they're crazy, or they just have a predisposition. It makes it easier to continue to go about your life and not look at those people.
Yep.
That they are just like us.
They didn't
It
try
happens
hard
every day.
enough. They didn't da-da-da-da. It's like,
Yeah, screw that. No, there's
maybe
issue.
they didn't, like, I don't know. There's just such levels.
Yeah, I appreciate that man's interviews. It's soft white underbelly, right?
Hey, soft wet. Yeah,
Soft-
okay. I thought it was white. I didn't.
soft white,
White underbelly?
underbelly, right?
I-
Something like that.
yeah.
If you haven't at home seen these interviews, they're all on YouTube. These like long form interviews, really getting people's stories of how they ended up in some pretty desperate situations. And I mean, you want to have
Soft white underbelly.
yeah, you want to have empathy and compassion for your fellow humans, like and pull off the fucking stigma and stereotype over certain people, how they look and what they're living through. Like, damn, that shit's them shits is heartbreaking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this person said, and I was glad this person said it, family expectations probably the only thing driving me to do better. I should want to do better for my own sake, but after all they do for me and sacrifice for me, I feel pressure to be perfect. It's a hard dynamic. Yeah.
If you don't start anything, you can't fail. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I thought my parents didn't have the greatest intentions in their expectations, it would be easier. But I know they have great intentions for me. So missing out on some of those expectations or missing the mark crushes me sometimes. Sometimes I just sit and think like, dang. And they have such big shoes to fill because they did these amazing things. They moved the family from Mississippi all the way out to another place and they found success in it. Like, what can I do to like go add on top of the empire? Sometimes it just feels like I'll never be able to do it. But they always tell me, you know, they're so proud of me for certain, you know, things I've
Yeah.
done. But
And-
also just being me.
No, your family's so great. Like they want you to be you. They want you to follow you and be true to you and be happy and obviously be respectful and be a decent person. Like don't be a piece of shit. But
Yeah.
like I know they support like you being you, you know? Yeah, that's a nice thing, man. I mean, something I've noticed in life now in my 30s, it kind of goes into family expectation or more societal expectation, but like we've all followed a different path right now. We don't have a stable job. We don't have kids, family, white picket fence, those
Hey,
things.
speak for yourself.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but speak for yourself.
And in growing up and in my 20s and in my life path and choices, I never felt too much pressure to go for those things. I recognized the value in like, and also the gratitude I had for like, no, my life is this unique thing that I'm following an alternative path that like affords me so many blessings and freedoms, and I'm so grateful. It's this other dynamic thing. It's not this path. However, the uncertainty of the path I've chosen in my 30s has let me reflect on some of those dictated paths probably start to pay off in your 30s. You know, there's trade-off, but like, I don't know, my sister raising her baby now and having her husband and like your life responsibilities and priorities kind of being clear and making sense and the certainty of your day. I'm sure it can get monotonous. I'm sure it can, but
knowing you're doing the right thing.
But you can count on a particular amount of life in front of you. The uncertainty of the path I've chosen in my 30s, I mean, it can drive me crazy for weeks at a time. Like,
And we just keep saying, why am I here? Why am I living? As opposed to just going and like living. We just talk about like, you know, like, oh man, it's so hard for me to live with my alternative lifestyle. Because then it's just like, what do I do with all this time in front of me? Because still like anything can happen, you know?
yeah, anything could happen, and also
Nothing is
can
going
happen.
to. So
Yeah.
just start on a path. Like,
Well, and like it's hard because, all right, you got kids, a job, and a husband, or kids, a job, and a partner. Your bounds are like there, like how you need to show up. Your responsibilities are pretty fucking laid out. Your priorities should be pretty fucking clear in that. On this crazy fucking path I've chosen, I have to like I have to get clear on what my priorities are every day. I have to get clear on what my schedule is every day. It is not laid out for me at the fuck all. And I'm like, that didn't bother me in my 20s. It really did. And I was like, yeah, fucking, yeah. But as I'm now 33, I'm like, ooh, a little certainty might be fucking nice.
Yeah.
When facing the abyss of the night.
Yes.
A little certainty could be cool.
Dude, man, I used to be like, man, F the system. I'm like, damn, that system looking pretty nice.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't it funny how that can shift over time?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm so cool, fuck the system. But nah.
Yeah.
Wait a second. In the system, you don't feel an impending doom at all times and like you're not worthy to life and that you're inept at showing up?
Man.
But maybe by like choosing to do something, we wouldn't feel that way.
Choosing
What
to
are
do
you
something?
saying?
Like,
Substantial and real.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe it's because we've only ever done fucking make-believe that none of this feels worth fighting for.
You're right. I do think about that, yeah.
No, finite things are the best. Like, there's just nothing finite about, acting.
it's all made up.
Yeah, it's all made up.
Tangible things are cool.
Tangible things are very cool, man.
Yeah, like construction. I know it's hard,
know.
but cool.
And I know when the building is done. It's there. It's right there. No, bro, I all the time I think about just going back to Mississippi and just building things.
Dude.
No one could tell me that
Couldn't
it
build.
wasn't worth it. I just think here it is, I don't know if it's livable, but I built all these shacks.
Dan, I can see you like in your entrepreneur era of like doing those like little small homes, like making small homes for all the homeless.
It's
and
a dream
stuff.
of
like
mine,
that's what I
actually.
want to
Tiny
do
homes.
too, dude. Tiny homes are so cool.
Yo, we should start a show making tiny homes.
Yo, let's go build a tiny home.
Why not? Hopefully we can get a grant.
No, I'm really down because I just feel like
You want to do something?
this would be easier. I feel like doing something worthwhile would make all of the connective tissue easier to do. I don't feel like I do one thing totally worthwhile, and that's on myself too.
Yeah,
but
speak
like,
for yourself.
But like one thing that like is serving the community at large with my, you know what I mean?
Hands, yeah. I want to make some
Like,
work.
what am I like? Why would I care about anything? I feel like boots on the ground like that. I don't know, because I do care about
manifesting something
bringing
real.
relief to all living beings. Like that's what I want to bring is like relief and ease.
I agree.
In whatever way I can contribute that, and I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that.
I battle with that all the time.
Yeah.
Dev never has a second thought about it.
No.
It's all about me.
I live for me. I live for me.
Man.
No. I totally know what you're saying. And it's funny. I'm just imagining people out there who are in construction. They're like, you fucking bitches. You don't want this job. This shit's hard on my body. And you fucking spoiled actors. And I'm like, yeah, but it all comes with fucking.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all comes with. It all comes with
one area.
Yeah, it all comes with fucking trade-offs, man.
benefit in another
And there's
area.
something to be said for fucking tangible labor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Our labor is. I don't know where it's going some of the time. It fucking dissipates into the ether, man.
Me, who cannot motivate myself to do anything, goes to my friend's overgrown backyard. Like, she's got a decent backyard in LA, right? And I'm telling you overgrown. I'm telling you, my little friend Amanda, the weeds were as tall as her. Like, they had grown from the spring rain, right? And this project was massive. Dude, that was the day that I tore my fucking fingernail off. Do you think anything could stop me from doing the yard work that day?
Hey.
I transformed that place. 2 days of 6 hours apiece. Didn't stop during those days. 2 days working 6 hours straight.
Oh.
I felt accomplished for days.
Flow state, I'm sure.
For days.
So I feel like it's like a balance thing. I feel like for those of us in these more ethereal pursuits, as a balance, we need also something tangible. And I feel like probably for people who are too manual and inundated with just like self and body, probably need the balance of something expressive and creative and a little more fucking soft and free flowing, life's always a fucking balance thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Man.
And it's tough too because like expectations for like, family, if we were building things, that's like, okay, I can meet the expectation to build this thing. But in this world, even if we are progressing, no one else can really see the progress unless it's plastered on the media and stuff like that. So it's hard to feel like you're meeting the mark, even if you're doing great things in your creative industry.
I know.
Hard
Yeah.
for people to know.
It's also the creative industry doesn't value something for a period of time just as it is. You're literally dumping it off while the car's still moving, and there's 1,000 other things.
Oh,
to
and the
look at,
cycle's
too.
gotten so much shorter. It actually used to count for a time. You know, like
something.
a movie, like Matthew McConaughey's book, like one movie like changed his life and carried for a long time. Like nowadays, I don't feel like that's the case. Like shit is moving so fast. It's just like you need something at all times. It's really like a maddening thing. You know, even virality on fucking socials.
Oh, yeah.
You hit big on
Everyone knows.
socials. It's big for one fucking moment, and what do you got next? Because it's already consumed and gone, and there's a million other things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking maddening. Shit.
Wow. What else are these community
Yeah, let's read
members
some
saying?
more of these comments. So this person says, my family expectations are for me to value the same things they value and live a life in line with those values. This is what we're talking about, mostly including traditional values of womanhood and Christianity. After a decade of breaking my family's expectations by moving away, solo traveling internationally, becoming a backpacking guide, living in a van, doing work different than what I studied, and being in a long-term relationship without marriage, they have come to terms with the unique force that is me. Before my mom passed when I was 18, she expressed to me that my creativity and my being different taught her a lot. I think my quote-unquote shortcomings in meeting my family's expectations in many ways have led to some amazing discourse and has moved the needle on their tolerance of those who are different than them.
Wow.
Love you, dude. Love
well
you.
said.
Love you. Love your
Beautiful.
life. Love that.
Live your life and live your life. That's
Great.
it.
I love that.
A selfless kind of observation about your situation, because like what you're doing is right for you, but it also ends up affecting other people in the way your parents are able to perceive others. So that's very positive, all around positive.
Yeah. This person says, growing up in a family, in a military family where discipline and expectations are very high, I had to live up to my parents' expectations at all times. And if I didn't, I would be punished verbally and physically sometimes. But yeah, it caused me to be very judgmental of others if they didn't live up to my expectations for a very long time in my life, until I grew up and I realized that not everyone is meant to live up to others' expectations, and it is 100% okay to disappoint people. And if you can't meet those expectations and that person gets mad at you, that's not a person who will help you grow in life.
Yeah.
In a relationship setting, you are your own person and you shouldn't be controlled. If you really love someone, you shouldn't expect anything from them other than the love you reciprocate with that person. Yeah, I love that. Expectations, like even that we have for others, like it's something to look at. You really can be putting someone in a lose-lose situation by having an expectation that they are not going to meet.
It doesn't resonate with them.
That isn't them. Like I told you guys once, like it's still a tender subject some of the time, but like I ended a fucking friendship and it sucked. And when I think about it more as I get older, I'm like, that had to suck for him. Like, God, that had to hurt. But ending a friendship, because I realized in that moment, I had this realization, like resentment had started to build, and I realized I need him to be different than he is. And I realized that's unfair. Like that's unfair. That's an unfair place to have our relationship. I need you to be other than you are. You know, it wasn't like a small thing I needed addressed. Like it was like, I need him to fucking not be who he is. Oh, fuck. And so I ended it, and like that's a gnarly thing. And I think a lot of people, maybe in friendships, but I think in fucking like romantic relationships, it's such a slippery slope, man. Relationships require communication. They require intimacy. They require expressing needs and boundaries and all these things, and getting each other to live up to your potential. But it's such a slippery slope when you have a partner and all of a sudden you indulge in the thought, but I need them to do this that's different than what they are or do.
Or
you
what
know,
comes
like
natural.
oftentimes that you need that in a relationship. That's where people grow. You come up with compromise. You like show respect to one another by like, oh, I usually do that, but you asked me to do this and I'll do that. Some part of that can be really sweet and grow a relationship, but like I said, slippery slope,
Yeah,
man.
some of it's controlling.
Yeah, some of it becomes control and wanting them to be other than what they are. Don't love the potential of what someone can be.
Yeah.
Can you love them now? Can you fucking give them space to be who they are now? Ooh, Lindsey?
Answers a lot for me,
Lindsey?
Dev. Answers a fucking lot, dude.
Lindsey, can you let me be who I am?
Dang.
Oh, Dev, I'm just over here like, you go, Dev. You go.
I like that little girl fist.
Go. And I'm fighting
Fist
your
me later.
asshole.
Good Lord.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That I think happens, man. It's so parentification. So having to be the backup parent, a parent to your parent, or being your parent's confidant. That can be some tricky situations, right? When there's an expectation, like let's say you grew up as your one of your parents' like best friends because you guys were surviving a fucking time together, right? But then at a certain point, like that can become unhealthy. You're not best friends. You're family. You're parent kid. Like I can get that enmeshment that person's commenting on. That can get fucking tricky.
No, and then I just want to go into enmeshment because you had posted something about enmeshment a while ago. But here, just for the people listening as well, well, this thing is saying this is not closeness, it's enmeshment, and sometimes they can be, I don't know, meshed together. I hate to say that, but no time apart, entangling other people's emotions and thoughts with your own, sharing everything because it's expected, seeing any differences in someone as a threat, and thinking that you have to agree with everything.
Oof.
Like that. Yeah, I don't want, like, independence is something that people have fought and died for the longest. Enmeshment is not
the death
tight,
of
man.
sovereignty.
Of sovereignty, yeah. And, you know, you experience that in family, sometimes in these cults, you know.
Cults, partnerships.
Political, you know, arrangements. It can be tough, man.
Yeah, like a rejection of your individuality.
Yeah.
Like a straight up denial.
And it always ends up in, well, let me not say always, because I don't know every situation, but I feel like a lot of times in enmeshment, there is one who's a little bit, the power dynamic is favoring one over the other, and then you end up just becoming a slave to what somebody else, you know, thinks.
Yeah.
You know what? A funny thing.
No, go.
I was going to mention, you know, the raw diet with my bro. That was a little bit of enmeshment, not because he was like, you got to do this, but we got so close with working on things together. We went everywhere. I'm a raw vegan, and then we're all regurgitating everything that we're saying. And it's like, you know, it's, like I almost feel like I need to say exactly what he would say. When someone asks, oh, well, why are you doing the raw vegan thing?
So I think this can happen in a romantic relationship too. Like it happens naturally, right? Where like, at a certain point, your fucking identities merge. You become the we, and there's all these like patterns that
we don't eat that.
That probably feel really good for a time.
Cute.
But as you are with someone for a long time, we change as people.
Yeah.
And if you've created this enmeshed we identity, do you know how in your relationship to allow your partner? What happens when they don't want to be the we all the time? What about them? And what about the changing them? And what about the fucking changing you, man?
Man. I've stressed that so hard.
That's why I'm single.
In my relationships. And that's where I do lean towards relationships are really tough, dude.
Fucking
They
hard.
are really tough because sometimes you feel like it's a positive thing. Okay, I'm learning to sacrifice for somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a good person because I can be patient with what they expect and yada, yada, yada. But you end up losing yourself, man. You really end up losing yourself. And it sucks when you feel like you can't have your own humor about things that might offend somebody, or you can't have your own take without someone, trying to push back against it. Like, it's okay, healthy debates on a subject, but sometimes it can get a little dicey.
I was so lost at the end of my last relationship, and it was from a lot of small choices made over time out of love and good intention and wanting her to be happy and wanting me to be happy. All these small choices. The image I got when we finally broke up was that I was fully bent over. Like, this was the image in my head emotionally. It was like I was fully bent over meeting her where she needed to be met.
Yeah.
And I was so far off me.
Your base.
My center, my base, my strength. Because I had made so many choices
Concessions.
to meet her where she was at. And at a certain point towards the end, as I started to try and get us to meet, let's meet me in some of my places, and she refused, it was like, okay, then this is over.
Yeah.
And man, I didn't get there consciously. I didn't notice it happening, It happened slowly over time. And
like the toad in the slowly boiling water.
yes.
If you pour hot water on that turd, on that toad, if you pour hot water on that toad,
Boil
he's
that
going to
turd.
jump on out. But if you slowly just turn up the heat in that water, he won't even know that you're cooking him, and then he's cooked.
Ew, I don't like that.
It's a life
You don't like the imagery?
I hate that.
It's a cold world, man.
Well,
It'd
that's
be like
what's
that.
happening to us. I hope people don't really do that to frogs.
Well, I mean, hopefully you
I don't know who's
want them to murder the frog first and then cook them.
Let them live in peace, dude. Why
That would be
would
the
anybody
best.
try to murder a frog without the frog knowing?
It's a metaphor.
It's just me.
It's a metaphor.
I get it. But like,
But no.
I feel like it had to come from somewhere. That was a real life
Maybe a
scenario
French kitchen,
sometime.
man.
Yeah, you don't want that toad to be anxious before you cook it, because then it seeps in the meat. So you need it to die
How
peacefully.
many amphibians have you eaten?
I've had frog legs before. Yeah.
Frog leg.
Man,
I think I fucking honestly, I think I'm working on the distrust I feel in myself after that experience. Like, I distrust myself in relationship for getting to that place.
oh, bruh.
Like, cause it was my good intentions. It was my love. It was my love for her that got me there,
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh,
I betrayed
hurt.
myself over time in small ways that led to big ways. Like, oh, how could I ever do it again?
But like, how do you portray, like, how can you have so much love for somebody and then like lose that love for yourself? Like how you just become so concentrated on like outpouring it? Because everybody's like, oh, you can't love somebody unless you love yourself. And so like, let's say you love yourself and you get in a relationship with somebody, like, that's what losing yourself is, like losing your love for yourself, like losing.
It's like, I did love myself, but she had more demand than me. So there was more to be met. I wasn't as versed in my own boundaries and in my own, like, here's what I need. And it's a boundary. If it's not met, there's consequence. Like, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
She had high demand for her needs. So I had to meet them. And after a certain point, realized I'm lost. I don't know where the fuck I am.
Eh.
Who am? What do I? I'm lost because I've been meeting this other person's demands.
And some people are emotional sharks out there and just are, like you say, way more versed in telling you what they need. I know I've never been a person who wanted too much of a change from another person.
Right.
And
so
so
you're
when
not
they're
even going to ask for it.
Yeah, and so when they're bringing it up, I'm meeting them at face value. Oh, this must be something that they actually need, or else they wouldn't say anything, because I'm a sane human. I wouldn't ask them to do something that didn't really matter. But then people get on just,
Next.
do this, next thing.
Yeah.
And you get caught up in this feeling that, oh, there's growth I need to do. I'm okay with growing for this person. So you love them, want to grow for them. But if you're not given that even exchange, then that lopsided, initiation carries out throughout the rest of the relationship and it can eat you alive.
damn.
Yeah, gnarly.
That was
Gnarly.
That was a good one, yo.
Yeah. Boundaries are good. Boundaries are part of family expectation. We'll do an episode to just fully discuss boundaries. But thank you guys for writing in. Thank you for being a part of this
thank
pod
you guys.
and
Thank
these
you.
topics. You are not alone in what you're going through. It might feel so personal because it's coming through your individual circumstances and experiences, but we're all fucking contending with these things. And this is life. These are the struggles of life. It's not outside of life. It's not separate from life. Like, these are the things that we need to integrate within ourselves and make peace with as best we can. So keep doing your best out there. Follow us on YouTube if you don't already, and join the community conversations on the communities tab.
And thanks for not letting us feel so alone. A couple of these things these people have said have been like, just needed another validation of the fact that, good Lord, we're all
rough out here,
singing a little different tune, but my gosh, it's like the same song,
Yeah.
singing it a little different way. Wow.
Yeah.
So, do not fear. But if you have to, cry and go into a small space. But try not to. Life is long and treacherous.
Oh my God.
Hey, long and dynamic.
There you go.
Treacherous with the wrong people on your side.
Yeah.
You got a
Stay away from those.
tip?
Oh, a tip on family expectations. With family expectations, just check in with yourself. That's something Devon says all the time. Check in with yourself. But check in with yourself and make sure that these family expectations are in line with your personal expectations. So check in with your own personal expectations and only make those sacrifices that you're willing to make. Don't be out here sacrificing everything to meet someone else's ideal.
Yeah, I'm going to say guilt is a fucking shitty motivator. So try and not do things out of guilt. Expectations can make life really uncomfortable. So be conscious of the expectations you're holding and putting on. But it's not to say the answer is having no expectations, because that'll just leave you fucking floating and doing nothing.
You'll still want to die.
So there's a balance.
You gotta have a reason to get up.
Yeah, so
not
there's a
too many
balance.
reasons that you don't want for you. Life. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Lindsey's fine.
Hey,
We swear.
yeah, she's good. She's good.
Does this look like it's
Oh,
over
yeah.
there?
Putting those trussels on there. What do you call them? Not bangs, tendrils. Yeah.
Love you guys. See you next week.
Peace out, guys. Oh, it looks great.
Yay! Thanks for watching this week's episode. Guys,
shout out.
is it time for
Super
Friends Dance!
Thank you for being patrons. We love you. Special shout out. Thanks for making this this podcast possible. Go to patreon.com/nedspod
That part.
if you want more from
That
us
part.
and to support us. We love you.
Love
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.